singing our national anthem by Miss Julie Anna Gulenko.
Color guard, parade the colors.
Forward, march. Color guard, halt. Left, face. Freeze then, colors.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say us that star-spangled banner yet
Recover. Right, pace. Forward, march.
Thank you. Please be seated. Good afternoon. Thank you so very much for the Pine Richland Air Force JROTC Color Guard. You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you so very much. And Julian for that wonderful rendition of our national anthem. On behalf of the United States Navy, the Program Executive Office for Strategic Submarines, Team Submarines, and the entire Talent Pipeline Program, welcome to the 2024 Pennsylvania Talent Pipeline Project's Pittsburgh Flag Signing Day celebration. I'm Vince Jordan, and I have the privilege of leading an amazing team that's doing this work here in the Pittsburgh and Cleveland areas. Thank you all for joining us on this day, and I'd like to especially welcome our new hires, our first-year anniversary teammates, their families and friends. It is our privilege to have you with us here today. This day is the culmination of the Talent Pipeline program, where over the last 12 months, employers have worked to make improvements to their talent systems, and today, we are here to celebrate these employers and those they have added to their teams. You know, we started this journey in Pittsburgh back in the spring of 2022 with a small group of employers, training providers, and local stakeholders meeting at the Community College of Allegheny County's West Hill campus. We weren't sure where the road would take us, but we all pushed the I believe button and started the work of building the initial cohort of employers, pipeline providers, and local facilitators focused on the mission of energizing and engaging the American economy by creating and sustaining a maritime and defense industrial base focused talent pipeline that enables our employers to recapitalize their workforce through recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining workforce members for 1 year as productive and engaged new employees. Since that initial discussion, we've learned a lot about the region and what it takes to be successful here. And early learning for our team was the reality of bridges and tunnels. The goal is to stay on your side. Another interesting point we picked up is you all, at least in the Pittsburgh area, in Cleveland you have a little bit different perks there. Here in Pittsburgh, you like to put French fries on everything. I still haven't gotten used to that, but I'm one of those rare nuts that likes liver, so I really can't throw stones. Seriously though, we did learn that there's an abundance of talent, there's lots of local support, and employers that are hungry for assistance. Our job has just been to help everyone connect the dots, and of course, we keep score. At last year's signing day celebration, we recognized 22 hiring employers with an original demand of 284 new teammates. At signing day of last year, they announced 354 new hires, exceeding their expectations. To date, of that number, 185 of that original number are celebrating their 1-year anniversary with their employers. And some of you are here today. So thank you very much. That 1-year anniversary is so important because it's an important milestone, as reaching 1 year is a high probability for a long-term retention. And if you've been around the Talent Pipeline program long enough, you've heard us say this many times, and I'm going to need your help here. It's not how many you hire, it's how many you keep. Great, and that's the goal. So this year we're coming together to celebrate the 2023 to 2025 cohort with 45 employers announcing 513 new hires since July 1st. Wow, what a big number. And many of them are here with us today. Over this last year, we focused on improving the program to provide more direct support to our employer partners. This year, each employer has a dedicated coach who helps their employers understand the current state of their talent system, recommends improvements, and helps them implement any change. This work has led to a number of improvements for our employer partners, but I'd like to point out one interesting statistic that highlights the impact. In our first cohort, of those 22 employers, we had 5 employers that really struggled with retention. That collectively, that group had a retention rate of around 47%. Not what we would call a big win. The good news is that each of those employers raised their hand for assistance and were willing to do something different. And boy, had they. Those same 5 employers are in this next cohort that we're celebrating today. And now they are averaging 86% retention. An amazing turnaround and an excellent example of what right can look like. In a few moments, we're going to recognize the work of all of our employer partners in the Pittsburgh flag for their efforts over the last 12 months. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Joe Barto, Program Leader for the Talent Pipeline Program. A 1978 graduate of the United States Military Academy, Joe began his journey of building high-performance teams in 1973 when he was recruited to play basketball at West Point under a brand new coach with a really hard last name, a guy named Mike Krzyzewski, who would go on to become the winningest coach in all of NCAA Division I basketball. Drawing on his experience as a West Point cadet, 20 years as an officer in the United States Army, and another 20 years of running his own high-performance team, Joe has led the Talent Pipeline program team from 6 employers in Philadelphia in 2021 to now over 300 employers in 7 regions across the United States today. It is my privilege to invite to the podium my leader, Joe Barto.
Well, thank you, Vince. And I'd just like to acknowledge the tremendous job that Vince Jordan has done with his team here in the Pittsburgh region. Last year we assembled here, as Vince talked about, smaller group. We look at the people that are here today. To me, it's just a testament of the demand that when people raise their hand and they're willing to do something different, how we can come together as a team. Couldn't be more proud. Also want to recognize the sponsor for the Pittsburgh flag. So he'll speak later on tonight or this afternoon, but Command Master Chief Jess Hiscocks, who is the sponsor for the Pittsburgh flag, has been the model for what a sponsor does. He has been out in your plants. I know that many of your plants, he's been to visit them. He comes to the networking events. So Master Chief, really well done here, and today's a credit to the work that when we come together as a team to pull this off. So, as Vince mentioned, just to kind of give you an update on where we're headed as a program, May is wedding season, but it's also signing day season for us. So last week we were on Tuesday, we were here in Hampton Roads. Today we're here in Pittsburgh. Next Tuesday we'll be on Long Island. Next Thursday we'll be in Philadelphia. And then on the 30th of May, we will assemble in Boston for the signing day in Boston, and we're inviting representatives from all the flags to come to Boston for our first ever national signing day, which will be the last signing day for the year. As our sponsor, Whitney Jones, her and Matt Sermon, the executive director, this truly, now that we enter the 4th year, is not a moment, but it's a movement. So all of you can know that you're part of something bigger than yourselves as we look at this program and the plans we have moving forward. As Vince mentioned, the tale of the tape, you know, the first year in Philly in 21-23, we had 24 employers, hired 259 new hires, and kept 165. The second year with 3 flags, we had 75 employers, hired 905 new hires, and retained 615 of them. This year in 5 flags, we have 241 employers that, as of last count, had hired 2,404 new hires, and we've kept 2,100 of them to date. An incredible testament to the value of the program. Our goal, if you've been reading any of the information that's now out in the program, is the demand for entry-level candidates in the defense industrial base continues to grow. And as I'm sure my friend Eric Logan is going to say later on, a year ago it was 10,000. Today we ramped it up to 14,000 as we decided we're going to sell submarines to Australia and the British. The business for aircraft carriers and submarines is just getting bigger and bigger, which means that we have to continue to contribute to that industrial base to provide the Navy our ability to build and operate those submarines. I said this morning I was doing a leader new hire retention training over at Holtec. And Jack, thanks for you and your crew, Lee and Rick, for having me over there. But, and I don't want to steal very much of the Master Chief's thunder here, but me being a combat veteran myself in the Army, one of the things that we never, ever, ever want to do is put an American soldier, sailor, airman, Marine in a fair fight. We want to make sure that if we're going to put an American soldier in harm's way, that they have the very best training, the very best equipment, the very best support from their country, so that when we put them in that fight, they win overwhelmingly. In combat, we don't want to win 51-49. We want to win 100-0. And that's where you come in. You are as important to that endeavor, probably more important than the soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, because without you, we can't put them in an unfair fight. Every year, we also look at our planning assumptions as we look at the expansion of the program moving forward. And we have 5 or 6 assumptions on that. The first is that the Navy demand will continue through easily 2040 and probably beyond. A year ago, we talked about 1+2. Now we talk about 1 Columbia, 2 Virginia class, AUKUS submarines, carriers, the entire surface fleet, which will drive that demand for your support for a very long period of time. Also, our economy continues to do pretty well. Our unemployment rates still are between 3% and 4%, which means that if we don't do something different to attract people to our companies, they're not going to just line up at the door. We know we're in a competitive war for talent, for the best people in America, and we need to go recruit them. You, the small and medium-sized businesses, represent the center of gravity of our economy. You're the one that are driving the economy. You're the ones that are supplying to the shipbuilders and the bigger companies all the things that you do to make our economy, to give them the ability to meet our industrial demand, to protect our country moving forward. Also, I'm always humbled because this program is one of the few programs since World War II where the American government is investing in an area of your businesses that traditionally has been your sole responsibility: talent acquisition and retention. And there are 2 types of employers in the world, in America at least. Ones that are the victims and the ones that say, I need to solve this problem because it's about running a business and I've got to understand how to do this better. If you're sitting in this room, you're not in the first category. This is not a venue for you to complain about how hard it is. This is a venue to share the things that you're doing differently, to get the right people in your company, keep them in your companies, run a better business, and provide more capacity to the Navy. As we enter the 4th year, we know the model works. The model is it's for and about you. It's a service that we provide you as long as you're willing to pull it, and in exchange for that service, to share with other people and to give us your data. And you've done an amazing job here in Pittsburgh. As we move forward into 25, most of you may have seen, we decided to launch a flag in Southern California. 2 weeks ago, we did the Demand Signal Roundtable with 52 employers coming to the Demand Signal Roundtable. And Admiral Weeks, who is the sponsor out there, gave us the command, plant the flag. The other thing that we're doing now is we have a national rollout plan, which means that any company anywhere in the country, if they need help and they reach out, we can help them. You have given us the confidence that the model is expandable and the model is a value added if we service what you demand, what you pull, not what we direct. So that confidence has given the Navy the confidence to expand the reach of the program. So I'd like to introduce the official party. First is, on the far left-hand side, we have our national facilitators. Pat Hershowitz is the Pennsylvania native. She's been involved from the very beginning when we went to Philadelphia, and she's on the board for this Submarine Industrial Base Council. So Pat, thanks for joining us again and showing the confidence of the associations. Certainly we have the Command Master Chief who will speak at he's closing tonight For any of you that don't remember, last year I get breakout cold sweats because if you remember, I dismissed the whole group and forgot the Master Chief at the end of the conference. So I had to come back and bring everybody back together. You remember that, Abe? We had a little challenge there at the end. I won't forget you this time, Master Chief. And then we have some very special speakers, and I won't introduce them, just recognize them here, but from Concurrent Technologies, we have George Appley, and the new hire that was selected is Madison McGaughey. Thanks for being here, Madison, and we'll hear from you later on. No pressure, so take your time. So I just want to say thank you. The employers, the training providers, the facilitators who believed enough to convince the Navy to make this investment in the Pittsburgh flag. We have proven here in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and the other flags that when we come together as a team, we work together against a common mission, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. This program is what is right about America. It's right and good because when the American leadership has asked American manufacturing to step up, we always have. We have answered our nation's call, and you're proving that every day. You prove that by being here today. So I'd like to just take a minute to introduce the keynote speaker. Logan is the Deputy Director for the Submarine Industrial Base Program and leads all the workforce efforts, of which this program is one of them. She took the job in June of 2022, right as we started the program. And after a distinguished career in civil service, Logan is probably directly responsible for the support that we've gotten to help you. And as I mentioned to many of you, when you talk about this program, you quickly, after about 2 or 3 minutes, you either get it or you don't. And my first meeting with Erica, I think she got it in 30 seconds. She not only got it, but she got how she could bring to bear the resources of the Program Executive Officer for Strategic Submarines to bear. And every time that she talks to me, the first question she asks is, what can I do to help? You're here today because that kind of support, both physically, but maybe more importantly, emotionally, is because of the support we get from the Navy. So I couldn't be more happy to introduce our keynote speaker today, my friend, colleague, and battle buddy, Logan.
Better. Okay, here we go. All right, he didn't tell y'all about the days we ended up fussing, but that's okay. I usually win, and that's how it's supposed to go. I'm so happy to be here, to be in Pittsburgh. My name is Logan. I work with Naval Sea Systems Command. I do bring you greetings from PEO Strategic Submarines. That is the PEO where the Submarine Industrial Base lives and works out of, and Admiral Scott Papano is our PEO, and Mr. Matt Sermon is our Executive Director. And if you haven't had the chance to meet them, I hope you do get a chance to meet them because they are fearless leaders that really enable me to do my job and support Joe and the Talent Pipeline program the way that I do. I won't keep you long, but I want to talk a little bit about why we're here, how the Submarine Industrial Base came about, and most importantly, to congratulate you and thank you and tie you more strongly to our mission. Today I want to thank our suppliers, all of whom to me are critical. I want to thank the training providers who are charged with preparing the next generation. I want to thank the employers who have embarked, the employees who have embarked on careers that will be as good as you make them. But my main goal is to tie you to our mission. The reason you are here, the reason we need all of you, the meaning behind your work, why everything you do must be done with excellence and pride. If you have ever served, if you know someone who has served, or if you know someone who is currently serving, this is your mission. This is what we're all about in this program. The Submarine Industrial Base program is sort of the Navy stepping outside of its primary role. It's something we weren't familiar with, but we realized we had a problem that we had to do something about. So we started to move. We knew we needed to elevate manufacturing. We knew we had to recruit and attract people to it. We knew we needed to provide training and opportunities to get people placed in life-sustaining careers. I am the workforce deputy for the Submarine Industrial Base, but we don't just focus on workforce. We focus on the supply chain. We focus on technology. We work with the shipbuilders on things like outsourcing work to suppliers, some of whom are in this room. We work on modernization efforts, but my favorite area is workforce, because to me, workforce means people. Whenever I think about workforce, I think about people. We all come to work every day trying to do the best job that we can do. But the real reason we work is for our real lives, so that we can live and love in our real lives. That's what's important. And the career that you're embarking on, and the employers that have hired you, that have put their trust and faith in you, they know this is important too. Some of the things that the Submarine Industrial Base has done is try to recruit and attract. Some of you all talked to tonight and find out why you took your jobs, what excited you, what do you like about your company. Similar questions to the employers. What made you hone in on a particular candidate? Those are the things that I'm interested in, how that all works. If you've heard of BuildSubmarines.com, you've seen the commercials. If you watch sports, NASCAR, hopefully you've seen the campaign that we launched so that you all would become familiar with our mission. Joe mentioned 1+2 and sustainment. We're also interested in the surface ships, carriers. Submarine doesn't go out and do it alone. So our mission is big. We also realize there's economic issues, local economic issues that we have to tackle, things like transportation and childcare, things that matter to employees and to employers. So we set out to charge to try and get a very robust recruitment and attraction campaign. Then we figured out that we needed to make some investments. We had employers that needed investment, right? Old equipment, things that they wanted to do with their own internal training programs, things they wanted to do better to orient their employees, to welcome their employees. We worked with training providers. We make capacity investments at community colleges. We work with CTEs. So we're trying to pull multiple levers to get at the problem. And by the look of this room, we're seeing some success. Joe is one of our, and the Talent Pipeline program is one of our premier programs. He mentioned the flags and how he's spread out across the nation, helping suppliers, working with suppliers, and I encourage you all to take advantage and spread the word. This is a service to you that the Navy is providing, and we're proud of it. The last thing I want to do is talk to the employers, the training providers, and the employees. Employers, tell your employees that it matters when they show up. Show these men and women they are valued every day. Always let them learn and try new things. Integrate them into a culture where they feel seen and heard. Provide a living wage with opportunities for advancement. Give them meaningful work every single day, and you provide the meaning. Showcase the mission across your shop floor so they're tied more closely to the mission. Training providers, spark, excite, teach, and show your students that you care. And employees, reach out to your friends and family. And after you tell them about a good career with a good salary, great coworkers, your awesome leadership, benefits, time off, or maybe overtime, tell them about the mission. Tell them you're ensuring national security one weld at a time or one part at a time. Tell them about the sailors you ensure make it back home. Tell them to listen to the calm. That is the peace we enjoy in the United States of America, thanks to what you do every day, and we appreciate it. Thank you. I also have the pleasure of introducing our main customer via video message from Admiral Caudle. He is the commander for the Navy Fleet Forces Command. I turn your attention to the screen.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to address you virtually today as we celebrate those completing the 2024 Talent Pipeline Program. To the employers, employees, and your families, congratulations, or as we say in the Navy, bravo Zulu, shipmates. My name is Admiral Caudle, and for those who are unsure what I do as the U.S. Fleet Forces Commander across my many duties and responsibilities, I am charged with organizing, training, and equipping a force of over 125,000 sailors and civilians with hundreds of ships, submarines, aircraft, and support facilities across the U.S. Atlantic Fleet that can ultimately prevail in high-end conflict while meeting the objectives of our operational commanders. This is a tremendous responsibility, but an even larger honor to lead our finest warriors at this level. In short, we protect America and our homeland from attack and go forward to defend our interests around the world, and if needed, win decisively on terms favorable to the United States. So first, please accept my regrets that I could not be there with you in person to celebrate. This program that Joe Barto, PEO Submarines, and the Navy placed in run in 2021 in Pennsylvania is growing at an eye-watering pace, and my schedule could not support my attending in person. It still brings me great pleasure to be able to participate in the conclusion of one chapter of your lives and the beginning of what will be the next phase of an incredible part of your professional journey. And what an exciting day it is. To the employees, welcome to the Defense Industrial Base. You are now an elite member of the foundation that supports our world-class Navy. You're part of something truly special. No one else is able to sustain a combat fleet of conventional and nuclear-powered warships at such a high tempo over the class life cycle of 30, 40, or even 50 years. You should all be extremely proud. I know I am. It's impossible to see the talent before me today and not be excited and confident in the future of our country. That is why I had to be part of this day, to take the opportunity to share the need for industry and the Navy to cooperate and partner to improve fleet maintenance so we can sustain forces forward during a high-end fight, because that is the job of everyone there in the room, to deliver the foundation and infrastructure the Navy and most importantly our sailors need so that we can fight and win our nation's wars. We have fallen a long way from the height of World War II, where our shipbuilding industry built almost 9,000 naval vessels and employed some 650,000 Americans from 1943 to 1945. Today's number of personnel working in the shipbuilding industry is around 105,000, a 600% reduction from the height of World War II. One last stunning fact that I hope you're aware of is more than half of the world's shipbuilding output came from China last year, making it the leader in shipping industry by a very large margin. What does all that mean for us and those in uniform? A deep concern for our Navy's future combat power. Without the help and commitment from extraordinary patriots and professionals like yourself. The idea of being something bigger than just a job, but service to your nation. But before I get too far ahead of myself, let's cover what matters and why we're here today. On this signing day and the Talent Pipeline Program Acknowledgement Celebration, my message remains consistent. We must all work together to build concrete and accountable actions that will get our Navy ship and shipbuilding plan back on track. This initiative will ultimately allow fleet and type commanders to generate the forces needed to be ready, on station, and a force standing at the ready to surge and support contingency operations. No Navy in the world can do what we do. I will tell you as straightforward and as simply as possible. We need everyone listening and across the nation to be all in. Not only the ship and submarine building and repair industry, but the defense industrial base writ large. So celebrate today's occasion, because it is certainly an achievement worth enjoying. And I challenge you to continue to aggressively pursue excellence by becoming a master craftsman of the highest order. Put your personal touch on each ship you build, each part you fabricate, and each component you repair, and be proud. You will work hard, dedicated to a career that has real meaning to your family, to your community, to your Navy, and your nation, and certainly to the world. After all, when you see your ships doing great things like the Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group, who's out there right now, you will have the privilege of telling yourself, your loved ones, and everyone you know, I did that. I helped make my country safe and secure today. I do it every day. Thank you and congratulations, shipmates.
We certainly appreciate Admiral Caudle providing those remarks for us. As I shared earlier, this cohort is announcing 513 new hires across the employer partner team. The goal for every employer is that each of those 513 new teammates becomes a lifelong, productive, and engaged member of their team. To get there, though, requires a different type of recruiting, which we call hire for fit, train for skill. Find someone who wants to be on your team and then make a commitment to invest in their growth and development. For each signing day, we look across our partners for an employer that models the hire for fit and train for skill mantra. This year, it is my pleasure to recognize Concurrent Technologies Corporation and introduce Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, Mr. George Appley, who will introduce our 2024 Pittsburgh Flag Signing Day new hire representative. George.
Thank you very much. We are honored to be here and appreciate the invite. My name is George Appley. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Concurrent Technologies Corporation, CTC, and I'm here to introduce Madison McGaughey, our new hire for CTC. Before I do that, I'd like to give just a brief background. CTC is focused on advanced technology, development, demonstration, prototyping, and accelerating its adoption into the industrial base and government clients directly. One of the areas we work in is advanced manufacturing and engineering, and we joined the TPP program in August of last year. And we very much appreciate the innovation, the best practices and lessons learned. In fact, we are right now actually implementing the World-Class First Day program that the program has helped us do, and really looking forward to its impact in the company. I brought with me today Bruce Williams, our Director of our Shop Services, and Kathy Jones, our Director of Human Resources. And back in November, Bruce had the opportunity to attend the TPP-sponsored welding competition. And at that time, he had a couple openings for welders, but they were for very experienced welders, looking for 5, 10 plus years of experience. So he really had no intention of recruiting. And during the event, he had a chance to meet Madison. And after a few minutes, he turned to our recruiter that was with him and said, "We need to bring her into the company," right? And a few days later, Madison came up and toured CTC, and I'm proud to say in April, she joined the company. She is finishing her degree program at the Pittsburgh Technical College, and she joined us in April and has been here for about a month and a half. And I'm pleased to say the reports that have come up to me have just been outstanding. Her enthusiasm, her attitude, her skills, and her desire to learn, because like I mentioned, we work on some pretty advanced kind of capabilities, have just been really, really nice to see. And so when you say hire for fit, this is a real life example where we really weren't planning on doing that, but it happened. And I think the results are going to speak for themselves. So with that, I'm extremely proud to introduce Madison McGaughey.
Thank you for that introduction. My name's Madison McGaughey. I'm a proud 2024 graduate of Pittsburgh Technical College, and I'm currently honored to be working at Concurrent Technologies as a welding technician. When I was approached to speak at this event, I felt compelled to delve into my journey, to share a glimpse of my aspirations, and to express my absolute heartfelt appreciation for those who have supported me along the way. My journey into welding began with nothing more than a spark of curiosity and a desire to work with my hands to create and to build. I'm sure I speak for many people here when I say a desk job would not have suited me, and ultimately what pushed me into the manufacturing field. Growing up, I would spend time helping my dad, more so handing him tools and running off to play with the rest of the cool stuff he had. So to be in the same environment for my career feels at home. However, the only thing I knew about welding at the time was that it was hot, bright, and most importantly, extremely bright. I remember seeing the flash of the welder starting and running to hide behind this big roll of bubble wrap that was in the shop. Fearing this thing and it being so mysterious to me, I think is what drove me towards it. So when I went to school after only welding with the MIG gun and was told to weld with a stick rod, I panicked. Standing in the small booth with the stinger in my hand, I couldn't bring myself to start welding with it, mostly scared of being shocked. Fortunately, I had wonderful instructors there to guide me through it all, from my first arc with a stinger to the very end when I was nervous taking my qualifications. I could not be more grateful for each one of my mentors who gave me invaluable lessons and molded me into the welder that I am today. To anyone, if I could say anything to anyone thinking about starting in this field, I would say that it can be intimidating from the outside looking in, and getting started is the hardest part. You don't have to know anything. I sure didn't. Whether it's going to a technical college, a high school vo-tech, or even starting at a shop as a laborer and learning there as you go, there's gonna be people who are excited to teach you anywhere. My biggest advice is no matter how scary it is to just jump and do it, because the worst thing that can happen is that you gain knowledge and learn, and that in itself is worth it. For myself, looking towards the future, I see boundless opportunities for growth and innovation in the field of welding. As technologies continue to evolve, so does our role. I'm excited to embrace new techniques, explore new technologies, and continue to learn throughout my career every chance that I get. I'm honored to be working so closely with the Navy. It's a privilege to be a part of their manufacturing process, to be a part of protecting my nation. Right now, we need workers to contribute to this goal, and not just welders, but engineers, machinists, fitters, and more. National security is a combined effort, and I couldn't be more proud to serve this goal, especially at Concurrent Technologies. At Concurrent Technologies, I found not just a job, but a community who share my passion for excellence and dedication to creating. From the moment I learned about CTC, I knew that I had found a place that I could thrive and learn, surrounded by mentors who guide me, coworkers who inspire me, and leaders who can empower me to continue growing. I'm beyond thrilled that Bruce saw my potential, and grateful that not only him, but the rest of his team has accepted me with such open arms. And so, we celebrate today not just how far we've come, but to everywhere each one of us will go. To my family, my friends, and teachers who have supported me every step of the way, I can't say thank you enough for all of your encouragement and belief in me. And to my fellow new hires, Let us embrace the challenges that lie ahead. Let us take advantage of the opportunities that will come to us, and let us never stop learning. Thank you.
Madison and George, thank you so very much. Madison's parents were here. Should be very proud. Congratulations. And now this brings us to the main event for our evening. While our primary focus is our employers and those new hires, none of this would be possible without the rest of our team. Our pipeline partners, which include training providers and others who have access to pools of entry-level and experienced talent, and our facilitator partners, those local stakeholders who are leading workforce development in similar regional efforts. I've got a number of them here today, and I'm going to ask you to stand. I'm going to identify you and ask you to stand for me for just a moment. So from our training provider group, I'd like to acknowledge Randy Reed and Laura Del Vecchio from Beaver County CTC, right up here up front. Janine Westlock, where's Janine? Janine back there from CCAC, we've been with for quite a while now. Thank you. Pittsburgh Technical College, Beth Appel, Ed Busek, Christy Schleitman. Did I miss? Who else did I miss? All right, all right. Where's Ed? Back there. 2 years in a row, one of your students has stood on this podium, and they got here because of the great work that you do, you and fellow instructors like you do, Ed. So thank you so very much. From our facilitator partners, AMP, Sarah Badami. Where's Sarah? Sarah here? Sarah back there, thank you so much from AMP. Rachel Maurer with the German American Chamber. Rachel, you've been here from the very beginning, so thank you so much, Rachel. And from Partner for Work, we have Allie Heckman, Bonnie Yeager, and Maurice Walker. Partner for Work team, thank you so very much. And my partners in crime from the Pittsburgh Tech Council, Marie Ploney and Brian Kennedy. We've been working with them for 2 years now, so thank you very much. I hope I didn't miss anyone of our training provider facilitator partners, but I'd like to give you all a big round of applause because we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so very much. And now before we announce the first group of employers, I'd like to set the stage for what we're getting ready to do. Each employer partner is part of a small group of geographically connected employers that form what we call a network group. Each network group is led by one or more network coaches whose role is to guide the employers through the process of improving their talent systems. So tonight, each network coach is going to introduce their respective network, starting with a local employer who will share their experience. Following, any new hires and first-year anniversary teammates will join their leader on stage for a photograph and will participate in the military tradition of receiving a challenge coin. The challenge coin serves as a symbol of membership, belonging, and camaraderie, forging a strong bond among those who possess them and serve as a tangible reminder of the appreciation and respect of their peers. Receiving the challenge coin is great honor, and those presented today are to commemorate these new and first-year anniversary teammates' decision to serve their country as a member of the Defense Industrial Base. Our hope is that your coin will serve as a reminder that you are part of something bigger than just yourself, and that your chosen profession is noble and critical to the defense of our country. As we bring each group on stage, if you'd like to take a picture, please come forward to the front row. There are a few empty seats when your group is called. And so with that, I'd like to introduce the first coach for Pittsburgh Flag, and as he will remind everyone, the #1 network, my good friend and teammate, Joey Pettit.
I don't have to say the #1 network anymore. It's just there. What else can I say? So the #1 network, I said it again, is a wide swath of Ohio and Pennsylvania. We go from Washington way down south, almost in West Virginia, all the way up to Cleveland, over into Erie, a little bit of all over the place. Exceptional network that I was privilege to be a part of. When we put the teams together, I asked them, hey, we have a long ways to go. If we're going to meet in person, everybody has to commit. There wasn't a single person in the group standing over there who said, that's a little far for me. So to them, I say thank you. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for always being there and always helping each other out. We have 14 employers. The 14 employers made 134 hires. That's pretty significant. That's why we're number one. Last year, of the employees that we hired, 56 have reached 1 year, which is impressive, and something you guys should all be proud of. Across the board, you guys have worked together. You've worked on building your teams to be teams of success, and it's been very apparent. As the number one network, I get the privilege of having Ryan Lochner from AT&F represent our network. I'm not going to say it's because he's the number one guy, but he'll tell you he is. But without further ado, Ryan, please share with the group your experience as the lead employer network partner for the number one network.
Thanks, Joey. Seriously though, thanks, Joey, for your guidance throughout this last cohort. You kept us laughing and on track at the same time, which is important, and also kept us collaborating too. So that was, this year obviously was a little different than last year in how we set things up. And some of us in the group are first years, some of us are sophomores. And one of the different approaches we took as a group is we looked at where we wanted to focus, and we settled in on one of the events we had was nice. We've settled in on purpose. We've heard that a lot today from Joe, from Erica, that purpose, right? So we were lucky to make the drive, get together, and we spent the day with somebody from the SIB, came in and went over submarine history, right? It was awesome, and we were pretty, you know, can this even go longer, right? There was just so much there, and you think about it, right? These subs, they're under the water. They've kept this stuff quiet for years. They're finally telling us about it, right? And so we got to go through and really get excited about that, which we can bring to our candidates, which we can bring to our current team members, and keep beating that drum of purpose, because I think it's just great to keep that focus. And you can hear Madison say it too, and I love it. So I think that's one thing that really helped our group out this year. So Joey, thank you. Everybody, thanks for working together this year. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. So AT&F is in their second year of the program. And in last year, as you may know, they were our best practice model. They're represented today by Ryan, obviously, Tara Rash. They have new hires, Jacob Wilson, Robert Bonsney, Christopher Bonilla, and 1 year anniversaries are Hunter Preistedt and Trent Thal. All right, next up we have Hunt Valve out of lovely Salem, Ohio. If you've never been there, it's not where the witch trials were. I had to look it up. Hunt Valve is going to actually be one of the key first employer partners in the enterprise model with Fairbanks Morris Defense. They're represented today by Taylor Powell, Anna Murray, and Tom Ubelhart. Thank you, Taylor. Integra Testing, led by Julie Ritzheimer, is coming up on stage here. They're in their second year of the program. They do phenomenal work, and you talk about a great group of people to work with, represented by Scott Ritzheimer, Brian Miller. We got Josh, who's a new hire, as well as one-year employees, Jilman and Paul. TriPro. Will is the COO of TriPro. TriPro is a small company that's doing amazing things. What I want to point out about TriPro, though, they are so focused on getting the right person in the job, right? We talk about hire for fit, that they've made a couple passes because they want to make sure they bring the right person into the company, which is phenomenal. My phone keeps locking on me. And then we have Sarah with Micon. Why'd you stay so far back, Sarah? She likes the long walk up. So Sarah and Dave are the leadership team for Micon. Phenomenal company, do great work, and they're going to take me underground in a coal mine, which is going to be awesome. And finally, the big show. We have Thieves, Combustion North America. Come on up. So represented today, we have Craig Duncan. He's the Director of Operations. The President and Director of HR were actually called away. Thieves is owned by a French company, and they had to do some French stuffs. Today we have David Duffy, John Kennard, John Sanchez, Jess, Mike, Luke, Mark, Jeff, Dan, Steve, and Donna. Fantastic group that are dispersed in 2 locations. This year they had 29 starts across both locations. They just keep going. So that is the #1 network. You can applaud for that. Now it's my privilege to introduce our next network coach, Noelle Bremus, who's done a fantastic job with her network and is excited to speak in public. Noelle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Joey has been listening to me talk about how much I hate speaking in public, even though I used to do theater in high school. So don't ask me how the two don't intermingle, but they definitely don't. So for everybody who I have never had the opportunity to meet yet, it's a pleasure to meet you. Noelle Bremus. I'm the network coach for 13 employers throughout all of Allegheny County, over to Johnstown, even as far south as Cumberland, Maryland. Among these 13 employers, 5 of them have been with us since our first cohort, while 8 are diving into the program for the first time this past year. This year, our focus within this network has been on charting new and current paths for talent acquisition and retention, mentoring and empowering heartbeat leaders through the 5th metric scorecard, and establishing what right looks like for new teams joining through the world-class first day. Although For the vast majority of you in this room who have had the world-class first day as your tool, can definitely attest it's more of a world-class first month. I was privileged to work with our best practice employer, Schroeder Industries, for this cohort, and would like to welcome to the stage President of Schroeder Industries, Gus Schroeder, for his remarks.
So I'll go quickly here. So we're a company, I'm Gus Schroeder, President of Schroeder. We're a company of about 246 employees. We make advanced fluid conditioning products or hydraulic components, diagnostic tools. We have been in business for roughly 79 years. And we looked at this program, and I heard Ryan talk about purpose. We looked at this program and we thought to ourselves, there's a fantastic opportunity here. We came out of COVID. We saw the challenge in recruitment and retention. We saw a toolbox that we hadn't really had access to. We call it sort of the anti-HR program for really building relationships, building continuity. We had Kenny, Joey, and we had Noel who helped us through this process. We took full advantage of it and we really engaged. And I am really proud of the team that we have, the HR team, all the people in the management level, and everyone throughout the company who engaged and did it the right way. And in short, the toolbox for the newer people in this office or in this group, it is a way to engage. It is a way to create relationships. It's a way to create touch with the employees that we didn't have at least. We thought we had good culture, but this is a tool set like nothing else. And the program has been great. We appreciate the opportunity. So thank you. I'd like to bring the team up.
Wonderful. Schroeder Industries is in their second year and has been a huge advocate for the TPP. Representing Schroeder today, we have HR Manager Patty Kerr, HR Generalist Susan Bernola, even though she tried not to come up on stage. First year anniversary hires James McLaren and Shelby Krause, and new hires Bronk Tomachak, Alex Thomas, and David Burdick. Thank you, Schroeder team. Our next employer is Holtec International, represented by Corporate Director of Human Resources, Jack Johnston. Holtec is in their second year of the program and happy to report 12 hires from the first cohort that have reached their first year anniversary and 12 new hires in the second cohort of this program. Holtec is joined today by HR Generalist Gina Deem and new hire Ryan Bastme. Thank you, Holtec team. Our next employer is GE Vernova Power Conversion, represented by Manufacturing and Operations Leader Tim Barnhart. GE is in their second year of the program and happy to report 6 hires from the first cohort that have reached their first year anniversary and 3 full-time new hires in the second cohort through working with local VOTEX and co-op programs. GE is joined by Tracy Canals, Andy Gongaware, Enver Alieb, Hunter Webley, Kelly Doyle, and Tommy Kraus, and new hire Kyle Stolenwerk. Which they did not join us, but they're on their way. Yes, yep, keep on down below. Tracy down below. Our next employer is KTA Tater, represented by CEO Dave McFadden. KTA is in their first year of the program and happy to report 31 new hires since joining us in July. KTA is joined today by Chief Human Resources Officer Wendy Dameron. Our next employer is PowerX, represented by Master Production Scheduler Bob Warner. PowerX is in their first year of the program and happy to report 15 new hires since joining us in July. Our next employer is Concurrent Technologies Corporation, represented by Executive Vice President and CEO George Appley. CTC is in their first year of the program and happy to report 58 new hires since joining us in August. CTC is joined today by Senior Director of Human Resources Kathy Jones, Director of Shop Services Bruce Williams, and new hire Madison McGaughey. Thank you, CTC team. Thank you. Our final employer in this network is going to be JV Manufacturing, represented by President Ryan Vecchi and Vice President Melissa Vecchi. JVM is in their first year of the program and happy to report 11 new hires since joining us in November. JVM is joined today by HR Manager Christina Poole, HR and Safety Manager Amber Wari, Project Manager Gina Mucci, new hires Nate Reagan and Scott Israel. Thank you all for joining us today. With that, I would like to introduce Kim Weingardner from our third network in the Pittsburgh Talent Pipeline program. We've enjoyed working with Kim over the past couple of years since she joined us from her retirement at Elwood, her all of to 2-week retirement. She loved us all so much. Kim.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kim Weingardner, and I represent the network coach for network number 3, but I have to say that my numbers will outdo Joey. As I learned in Elwood, numbers is all it takes. My employers are located as far south as Ambridge, PA, and then all the way up to what I would call the winter wonderland up in Irvine, PA, and Titusville. So we always try to get things done in the spring and the summer because you don't want to go up there in the winter. I have 14 employers announcing 138 new hires this year, and out of those 14 employees, there are 10 employers that have been the second year of the program, and they're pleased to announce 80 new hires this year. Employers in my network have focused on completing their value stream map this year, and also a lot of them completed the leader retention training, and then also implemented the 5th metric scorecard. Some worked on world-class first day, some on 30, 60, 90, and then also the realistic job preview. It's been extremely wonderful to work with a lot of different companies because, yes, I had a career with Elwood for 32 years, which was great. But it's great to go into other smaller manufacturing companies and see how rewarding it is to make improvements, especially when you have to go up against change and culture. So it's been wonderful. So the first company representing my network is Flowline. They're in Newcastle, PA, which is just north of here. They're in their second year of the program, and happy to report that 7 new hires from last year met their first year anniversary, and they're reporting 16 new hires this year. Please welcome Don Baggetta. He is just promoted to president and COO this last month.
Thanks, Kim. So Flowline's, as she said, Flowline's a small company up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. We started this talent process about 2 years ago. We've been, the first year was a little bit slow, but we kind of found our groove. As she just said, we went through the value stream map. We've got a bunch of great employees, and our biggest problem was more around the retention side. So we've been very focused on retention, and Kim has helped us with a lot of the tools to help with that retention, and it has made a tremendous difference. We focus on that first day, what do we call it, the world-class first day. That's been phenomenal. We've developed the scorecards. We keep track of, all of our supervisors are doing a evaluation of all their employees, and we do this every 6 weeks. We meet, we review, and it's been fantastic. So I really want to thank Kim for the help. And while we're still in our early stages, I do expect this to continue to grow. Thanks.
We also have Jeff Burns here from Flowline. He is also president and CCO. Our next employer is Elwood National Forge, represented by A. Bigelow, who's their training manager. E&F has 3 plants in the program. One is in Irvine, PA, one in Corey, PA, and one in Warren, PA. They're in their 2nd year of the program, and are happy to report 19 new hires from last year have reached their 1st year anniversary, and 25 new hires for this year. Our next employer is Elwood City Forge Group. They're located in Elwood City, PA, and they're represented by Valley Sentinathan, who's president of the company. ECFG is also in their 2nd year of the program, and they're happy to report 18 new hires from last year that received their 1st year anniversary, and they're reporting 3 new hires this year. And with us today, we also have Roger Ashby, Shane Price, and Corey Chaffee, who have all reached their 1st year anniversary. Our next employer is Elwood Quality Steels. They're located also in Newcastle, PA, and they're represented by Mike Morgus, who's president. They're in the 2nd year of the program and are happy to report that 18 new hires from last year reached their 1st year. They're also reported 23 new hires for this year. With us today, we also have Don Chaffee, who's the Director of Human Resources and Safety, and Darren Schwartz, Manager of Steelmaking. And we also have the following employees with us today: Shane Aiken, Jacob Boyd, Cody Bradley, Brandon Gilchrist, Marcus Haswell, Shane Kirkham, Nicholas Simon, and Joshua Woodley. And one thing I'd like to say about Elwood Quality Steels, they just celebrated melting their 250,000 melted steel heat. Our next employer is North American Forge Masters. They're also located in Newcastle, PA, and represented by Brian Hoover, president. We also have Sarah Dufford with us today, who's the office manager. NAF is in their 2nd year of the program. They've hired 4 new hires that have reached their 1st year anniversary and are reporting 2 new hires for this year. Our next employer is Precision Profiles. They are located in Titusville, PA, and they're represented by Matt Luco, president and CEO. We also have Amy Martz, Kyle Schweitzer, Sean Kerr, and Landon Baker with us. They are in the 2nd year of the program. They reported 3 new hires from last year reached their 1st year anniversary, and they are reporting 4 new hires for this year. You're welcome. Our next employer is D'Angelo Technologies. They're located in Evans City and represented by Marissa D'Angelo, the CEO of the company, or as her son calls her, the work mom owner. They're reporting 3 new hires for this year. Our next employee is Specialty Nameplate and Manufacturing Incorporated. They're located in Hermitage, PA, and represented by Tanya McClafferty, who is president. Tanya is in the process of moving her company to a new location, Hubbard, Ohio, and has been focusing on that large parking project and going to hire a fit when the time is necessary. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the other network coaches, Chris Cooney and Dave DiNardo. And I've ridden to Virginia with all these two, and I can say that it's like riding with husband and wife arguing all the way down to Virginia.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We actually are going through a transition. We represent two networks that actually have grown due to expansion. I'm Chris Cooney, and my work husband is Dave DiNardo. But I also want to talk a little bit about how we met some of you. I've been here since August, and I'm almost a one-year anniversary celebration. But it's also kind of important to understand that we are looking for you. We are profiling for you. Part of my job is to understand the needs and wants and kind of the marketplace here in Pittsburgh. So we're covering the greater Pittsburgh area as well as going into Northeast Ohio, which we just did a couple weeks ago. And one of the challenges that we have is getting the interest, but the way we get the interest is Master Chief. He is one of the most eloquent, articulate voices of why this program is so important. So when I reach out to employers, I just use the line, "You're being invited by Command Master Chief Jeffrey Hiscocks." And that really helps drive the message home how important this mission is. But for me, I have a nephew that I raised that's in the service. He's actually worked with Master Chief. And it is important to me that I know that he can go out, he can go under the water and come back to his 3 kids. And that is really important in the mission of this. So I wanted to really explain to you that it just isn't random that most of you are sitting here in this room. We understand, we are looking for you, and we want you to spread the word. One of the things we look for are disciples and ambassadors for this program, and we are building even a bigger, larger network in Northeast Ohio, and it's based on the success of the program in Pittsburgh. So thank you for all of that. So for my network, I still have 2, and what's interesting about them is when Vince hired me, we went on employer calls. These 2 employers that I'm going to be introducing were the first 2 calls that we made. One is literally over the hill from me in West Mifflin, and another one is in Carnegie. And what's been very compelling and very rewarding is that they have embraced the program, they've embraced me as a coach, they've embraced others that I've brought in, and Dave and I have really tried to work as we split and grow to look at the teams that we've worked with and to continue that very important connection that each of the network coaches has with the employers, and also what the program has connections with the area. So with that, I'd like to introduce Keith Zatawski, who is Chief Risk Officer for Union Electric Steel. My 2 networks have, I guess combined, Dave and I have about 36 employers now, and they've had almost 21 new hires, and he'll talk a little bit more about his teams. But Keith actually we've all connected and worked through the VSM, but Keith's team has moved ahead to leadership retention training and also to implementing the Power 9 and the 30-60-90. And yes, you can do it with a union, and he's really kind of my pro on that, and I refer to him when I need kind of that reference and experience. So I'd like Keith to talk for a few minutes, and he is also represented with Tiffany Stewart, who is manager of marketing engagement. She'll be up as he finishes. Keith?
Thanks, Chris. Good afternoon, everybody. So those of you who aren't familiar with Union Electric Steel, we celebrated our 100th year birthday last year. We're headquartered in Carnegie. We're a leading producer of forge and cast rolls and engineered products for the worldwide steel and metal industries. So I brought a few props. You may have seen one of our signs along the parkway as you're headed into the airport. I have another one here. It's more of a graphic kind of replica of what we make. Now these can range anywhere from 1,000 pounds to 80,000 pounds, just to give you an idea of the scale. We sell those to steel and aluminum customers. So to give you a recap, we joined the Talent Pipeline program in November. I'd like to share a few highlights of our participation, the benefits that we've gotten so far. As Chris mentioned, we had leadership retention training in February. We brought in our HR team, plant managers, superintendents for that training. We focused on the following areas: creating a high trust environment, the importance of giving trust from the first interaction on day one, the fact that the expectations and understanding of roles come from the leader, start with the leader, the value of communicating to a member of their team why their job is so important, and also giving employees a sense of belonging from that first interaction, and that creates that positive perception of the company. Vince was also there that day as we covered all those topics. So in order to make strides in those areas, we started out doing the Power 9 questions, as well as the 30, 60, 90-day review. One thing I wanted to mention is we did get buy-in support from one of our union committees, and what we tried to express to them was that we were doing this to really improve employee engagement, help with goal alignment throughout the organization. It wasn't something that we wanted to put in somebody's employee file and use it to make employee-based decisions. We approached it from an engagement standpoint, and that seemed to go over really well with the union, so we're really excited about that. So at this point, we're just looking forward to kind of going through some of those tools, get into some of the other tools, hopefully the world-class first day, interviewing, fifth metric. Those are things kind of down the road for us. Just wanted to close by saying thank you to Chris, Vince, U.S. Navy, just everybody who's worked so hard, I guess, to expand the program and make it a success. So thank you.
So my next employer is Clark Testing. They have 4 divisions across the United States, and they started working with us in the fall, and we have done the value stream map, and we are going to be starting retention training in the next month, and they have 11 new hires this year, and we're looking forward to their first year anniversaries. They are represented by Paul Heffernan, who is President and CEO, Michael Johnston, who is the Vice President of HR Communications and Administration, and their new hire, who's representing their 11 hires, Will Phelan. And now I'd like to introduce Dave DiNardo.
Oh, good afternoon, and What an introduction. I've been married for 43 years, and I drove in a car with Chris for 6 hours. I experienced divorce. Wasn't all that bad. But, and the only other comment I want to make, I am probably one of the newest members of the team here. It's been 5 months that I've been on board. Certainly have learned a lot about not only the TPP, but the folks in the room here. And certainly it's been a long time that I've ever been called a newbie. So with that, I will move on. I have 3 employers that I'm going to introduce this afternoon. My first one is AT&F, and they've been with the program for about 6 months now. They're what we call a franchise employer, so they have a facility here in Pittsburgh and in Milwaukee. And they are represented this afternoon by Nancy Erie, and she is accompanied by a new hire, Monica Mate. Thank you. My next employer is Hammer Industries. They're in the first year of the program. They reported 1 new hire in this year. They are represented by their CEO, Michael Schmidt, and I welcome Hammer. And lastly, my third employer is IT Square, or I Square T, I'm sorry. They are relatively new to the program. They've been here since January of this year. They are working through some of the tools that we have implemented with them, but have not recorded a new hire thus far this year, but certainly are working towards that goal. They are represented today by their president, Michael Joyce.
That never gets old. It never gets old. Just as for everybody here today, the employers, the new hires, facilitators, training providers, just one big round of applause for everybody. So I have this is the time when we make some announcements. And as the leader of the Talent Pipeline Program, as we start the nationwide, we have also the opportunity to recognize the future potential of the organization. So tonight, I'm very proud to announce that the Pittsburgh flag lead, Jordan, due to his performance, is now going to become a super flag lead. And Vince is going to run the program all the way to New York City in the super flag of the entire Pennsylvania pipeline program. So in the tradition of this, on the 1st of June, he will relinquish command of the Pittsburgh flag and assume responsibility for the super flag. And Vince, I really look forward to being put together and the amazing work you've done with your team here. So congratulations. And so there is a gap here. So I'm also very proud to announce that Vince's relief is going to be Joey Pettit. So Joey Pettit will assume responsibility on the 1st of June as the flag lead for the Pittsburgh flag, which encompasses this group today. Joey has earned the right to be able to step up into that role and responsibility to lead this group with the network coaches and certainly all of you. So without further ado, I'd like to invite the newest flag lead, Joey Pettit, to the podium and let you know that effective the 1st of June, in the Army and Navy tradition, he's effectively responsible for everything this flag does or fails to do. No pressure.
I love pressure.
I know you do. Congratulations.
All right, first and foremost, you know, I am unbelievably humbled by the opportunity. Joe, thank you for entrusting me. Vince, thank you for the leadership and helping me make my transition from the Air Force to save the Navy's ass. I mean, was that out loud? I got to get that fixed. So let's talk about next year. We're going into cohort 3, exciting times. This turnout is unbelievable. You know, having all of these faces in the room, and we didn't even stack the room. Like, you guys are real people. That's unbelievable. But as we grow the network, or the flag, we have to take on some new support, right? We don't want to bring more of you into the program and not have the ability to support you. So to do that, we're bringing on some new network coaches. We have our 2 newest coaches are in the room with us. Where's Crystal? Way back there, hiding in the corner, is Crystal McFadden. She's out of Monroeville. I always say something else, I don't know why. And Charles Johnson, CJ, way over there as well. CJ is going to be our Ohio point of contact, right? So all of you guys in Ohio, you will be seeing a lot of CJ, and he's excited to get involved and help you improve your process. But we got to have something for the coaches to do, right? So in the room right now, we have a couple of our brand new cohort 3 partners who I'd like to take a moment and recognize. Bechtel Plant and Machinery, are you in the room? Please stand, let everybody see you, because I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. I have no idea what any of you guys do. We only get better through working with each other. So we're going to go downstairs here shortly, have a reception, go over, shake their hand, welcome them aboard the program. It's pretty cool. Curtis Wright, right here in the front. Fasteners Unlimited. Not in the room right now? Okay. Intervala. There they are. Rebuild. And I'm going to say this completely wrong, so blame Crystal. She briefed me. Woden? Thanks, Crystal. Appreciate that. All right, so where we go from here? This wraps up our cohort 1, 2-year cycle. So this is the conclusion of our cohort 1, midpoint of our cohort 2, and we're kicking off our cohort 3. A lot of time and place to go. You can see. Good job, Ryan. Ryan put on the calendar, or on the wall back there behind me, our schedule of events. First thing we're going to have coming up is our kickoff event, which is going to be different than any other kickoff event we've ever done. We're going to have our mid-year, which is going to be similar, but not the same as last year. That'll be on January 25th, almost the best day of the year. Signing day next year will be May 29th. Potentially here, potentially somewhere else. We'll see what pans out. And the big event for next year is National Signing Day, which will be what we call a home game. It's in our backyard in Hampton, Virginia. It's going to be a great event there. As we go through the rest of May and into June, actually, it all wraps up in May. May is a busy month. We'll finish off our other flag signing days, and we'll culminate on the 30th with National Signing Day in Boston, which is going to be really cool. It'll be our first one and be interesting to see. I know that a lot of work has gone into that. The next thing we need to address for our path forward is our best practice model for next year. One of the keys to being selected as best practice model is we want you to have experienced the program so you can determine, is the workload something we're willing to take on? because Gus it's a workload, right? Ryan still doubts me all the time. I don't blame him. I doubt me too. Luckily, Tara says yes to everything. So for next year, our best practice model, represented by Craig Duncan, is going to be Phoeves out of Columbus, Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know why I went to Columbus. You want to go to Columbus? We can go there too. Further south. All right, out of Cleveland. So, Craig, allow me to introduce you to Ryan Lochner at AT&F, Gus Schroeder at Schroeder Industries. These two are going to be your mentors as we go through this process. They know it all because they're like State Farm. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. That's these guys. They've seen some stuff. And they're happy to help us work with you to get you to where Phoeves wants to be. A while ago, I forgot who the last person to come up was, but he said he was the last thing between us and food and booze. That's incorrect. I am right now. But it's not just me, because we have the CMC as well. So I get the privilege of introducing CMC Command Master Chief Jeff Hiscocks. If you haven't heard him speak, brace yourselves. You're about to go on a wild ride. He is the senior enlisted member for the Program Executive Office of Team Submarine. He's a career submariner. Who knows what their nickname is? Nobody? Bubblehead. Submariners are bubbleheads, right? Look at his head. So CMC hails from Iowa. He enlisted in February 2000, has held numerous positions, both under the sea and on shore duties, to include his previous assignment, which was at the Trident refit facility in Kings Bay as the Command Master Chief. In the military, we are very meticulous about everything we do. In the nuclear field, even more so, for good reason. Just to kind of show you the type of leader that he is, under his tenure there, they were awarded the Secretary of Defense Merit Maintenance Award, the 2022 Chief Naval Officer Shore Safety Award, and here's a really cool one and relevant to what we're doing today, back-to-back Retention Excellence Awards from the Navy, which is phenomenal because, let's face it, it's a hard business to convince people to go underwater all the time. You're going to hear why, because this dude can talk, and he can lead, and he's an amazing example of what we're working for, and I am proud to call him my friend, CMC Jeff Hiscocks.
Thank you, Joey, Ken, Joey, whatever we call you.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
The number one Pittsburgh leader. Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. Like, Vince, congratulations on your promotion. Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. This is going to be a rough ride. So, my name is Jeff Hiscocks. I've been in the Navy for 24 years. Absolutely love it. I love what I do. I love being on submarines. I can't do it anymore, so I shifted to this side of the Navy where I get to work on the acquisition side, the design phase, the building of submarines, and most importantly, working on our supply chain, the workforce side of the house. So before we get started, the program tonight has been amazing. I just want to recognize, so our speaker, Madison, like her remarks are pretty incredible. So Mom and Dad, you're down here. So if you could just please stand up real quick. So our job, right, like if we can raise kids like that, this job just gets easier, right? It just gets easier. So good evening, Pittsburgh. I'd like to extend my thanks to the Joe Barto team, to the SIB team. Erica, thanks for attending tonight. To all the vendors, all the suppliers, everybody that's in attendance. Most importantly, all of the new hires, right? So all of the new hires that walked across the stage tonight, just stand up real quick, mostly so I can just refocus on who I'm talking to tonight, because I'm talking to you. So just stand up real quick, just so we can recognize you one more time. Thank you. So this night is about you. So it's because of you that we celebrate tonight. We celebrate for many reasons: the start of a new career, maybe the starting over of a career for some of you. No matter the case, no matter the scenario, something exciting and challenging awaits you. The opportunity for a family-sustaining wage over the course of the next 40 years if you desire it. A trajectory of upward mobility if you choose it. Joining a company or team that has invested in itself by joining the Talent Pipeline program. So I want to talk about purpose. And Erica touched on it earlier tonight, and Joe touched on it earlier tonight. I want to talk about finding a job with purpose. Purpose beyond what probably many of you that walked across the stage tonight, and those of you that can't be here, many of you probably didn't envision the purpose of embarking on this journey to support the submarine industrial base or the greater defense industrial base. So what's the purpose? What's the definition? How do we answer that question? Achieving and sustaining a submarine building cadence of 1 Columbia class and 2 Virginia classes per year for the next 40 years, essentially. Plus sustaining our active duty fleet that we have. So we call that 1 + 2 + sustainment. You're going to hear that over and over for the next many years. You heard Joe say it, you heard Erica say it. 1 + 2 + sustainment by 2028. That's when we want to hit that cadence. That's the purpose of your job, working in the submarine industrial base and the defense industrial base. So what's your role? What's your role in achieving this submarine building cadence? Were you hired on as a welder, a machinist, metallurgist, non-destructive testing, quality control, pipe fitter, sheet metal worker, painter, electrician? Were you administrative in nature? Maybe you're a work planner, an engineer, an HR generalist, an accountant. Maybe you work in safety. It doesn't matter your position or your title. You are contributing to national security, whether you realize it or not. You are helping the United States of America exercise power projection and diplomacy from whatever shop floor or office complex that you work in. Think about that. Let that sink in. How do we draw this line from blue collar to power projection? And I don't like to call it blue collar with the way that we have advanced manufacturing and 3D printing and robotics and cobots. It's new collar workforce now. It's not blue collar, it's new collar. So how do we draw that line from new collar workforce to power projection and diplomacy and national security? How do we connect those dots? It's a term that we call strategic nuclear deterrence, and it's how we prevent major conflict around the world. Our ability as a country to project strategic nuclear deterrence comes from 3 legs, and we call it a triad. The Air Force bombers is the first leg of the triad. The Air Force bombers can be mobilized all over the country. They carry nuclear bombs, and they can be mobilized all around the country as needed. Joey's an Air Force veteran. I don't always consider the Air Force the most effective means to move nuclear bombs around the country, but that's one of our legs of the triad. I'm partial to the Navy, as you can imagine. Then we have the ballistic missile silos. That's the second leg of the triad. Most of our ballistic missile silos are located across the western half of the United States. Most of our adversaries know where they're at. They're probably marked on satellite imagery somewhere. They're very old. They need updated. So that's the second leg of the triad. And then you have the third leg of the triad, and that's the sea-based leg of the triad. That's carried aboard our Ohio-class submarines that are deployed all over the world right now. A submarine that we designed to operate for about 35 or 40 years. So if you look at it right now, those submarines, some of our oldest hulls, are pushing about 45 years of operation right now. We designed them to operate for 40 years. So the need to replace this class with the new Columbia class of submarine, it's urgent. So when you design a submarine in the 60s and 70s, and it's exceeding its lifespan, you can imagine that some of the parts, valves, materials, and components that we need to maintain that submarine to keep it in operation, well, they're becoming kind of hard to find. They're becoming kind of hard to acquire and maintain. So the greatest thing about our sea-based leg of nuclear deterrence is it houses what we call our second strike capability. And this is what keeps most bad actors up at night. Even if a foreign power would get lucky enough to take out our Air Force bombers, and they would get lucky enough to figure out where all of our silos are at, they never really know where those submarines are at. They never really know where that nuclear submarine with all of those nuclear warheads at sea is at. So they never really can fully take out all of our nuclear capability. That second strike strategic deterrent is what prevents bad actors all across the world from making a stupid decision. You can't really put a value on that. It's always in the back of our adversary's mind. I could do this, I could do that, but wait, what about those submarines? Where are they? How many are there? How many warheads are they carrying? I don't know. So why is now the time? Why is now the time to replace these submarines? Well, we talked about the age, right? We talked about 1+2+ sustainment. Why is the Columbia class the replacement for our at-sea strategic deterrence, our second strike capability? Why is now the time? When you walked across the stage tonight, did you know that you are joining the workforce that is part of the Department of Defense's, it is the #1 priority funded program in the entirety of the Department of Defense. So as you go to work in the submarine industrial base, you are working on the #1 priority funded program in all of the Department of Defense. That's how important it is. Think about that when you go to work. Think about that when you're thinking about the quality of your welds or whatever it is that you're working on. You're working on the most important thing in the United States of America. You want to talk about a job with purpose? Holy crap, right? Now, that's not the most important reason. That's the secondary reason. The most important reason is 2 words. It's called not today. I need everybody to say it with me. Not today. So let's try that again. Let's say it with some conviction. I'm going to count to 3, and then you guys are going to say not today. 1, 2, 3. Not today. All right, that's a little bit better. So this is the reason. Not today. Every day in this country, we wake up and we enjoy our way of life. We take for granted the liberties, the freedoms entrusted to us. The democracy that we live in is an amazing place. We wake up, we go about our daily lives, we get our morning coffees, we carry out our daily routine, we attend sporting events, school functions, churches, whatever, right? We order things on Amazon, we get them delivered the next day, sometimes the same day, depending on where you live. We get instant gratification. We live in an amazing place. But meanwhile, across the ocean, in either direction, there are bad actors in the world waking up every morning asking questions. They get up and they look in the mirror. Vladimir Putin rolls out of bed, he looks in the mirror and he says, "Is today the day that I threaten the United States or some other country with nuclear devastation? Is today the day that I push the buttons of the American government? Am I ready to engage in some sort of global conflict to which the U.S. gets involved?" In North Korea, Kim Jong-un wakes up and asks himself the same thing. How far can I antagonize South Korea? How many more missile tests directed towards Guam and Hawaii before I cross the line? Am I ready to engage in global conflict with the United States as a foe directly or as an alliance with another country? In China, their leader wakes up and asks whether the U.S. will respond to his continued bully-like behavior across the Indo-Pacific region. He says, if I decide that today is the day that I take back Taiwan, will the United States respond as their doctrine says they will? Am I ready to engage in global conflict with the United States or its allies? And in the Middle East, Houthi rebel leaders are already answering the question of, is today the day? They are choosing to engage and fire on commercial shipping and in some cases American naval vessels. They're quickly finding out that today is not the day, and our forces that are forward deployed are handling a multitude of munitions, missiles, drones, and who knows what else that is being fired upon them. And in every case, they're handling the business at hand. when we go back to the purpose of your job, those new hires that walked across the stage today, your job and its purpose, the greater good of being involved in something that's greater than yourself. This is it. It is your job. It is your trade. Whatever that I rattled off earlier, whether it's welder, machinist, whatever it may be, it is your work that forces these leaders to get up and they look in the mirror and we force them to say, not today. Today is not the day, right? We cannot do that without you. Today is not the day that I take back Taiwan. I don't have the technology, I don't have the lethality, I don't have the capability to outmatch the United States or its allies in battle. Today is not the day. I am not ready. Today is not the day that I invade or attack South Korea. Today is not the day that I threaten Europe or NATO countries. I am not ready for the consequences. I don't have the edge in this category or that category. You see, those two words, not today, so they belong to you. They belong to your coworkers, they belong to your companies, and they belong to the 16,000 plus companies that support the submarine industrial base and the greater defense industrial base. That is going to be your job for as far over the horizon as you can see. It's a heavy responsibility to provide the submarine industrial base and the defense industrial base with the skills, tools, parts, and materials and workforce to ensure the Navy and the overall military force in general has everything they need to be successful. You provide us with the capability, the capacity, the lethality, technology, efficiency, consistency, quality to stay ahead of our peer competitors. We used to have a large lead in that category, but that lead is rapidly shrinking. We're still in the lead, but it's shrinking. You are the edge that this country relies on, and you've always been the edge. You heard Admiral Caudle talk about it. Between 1943 and 1945, our workforce was amazing in the industrial environment. Right now, it shrank 600%. 600%, think about that, right? You're taking up that gap right now. The American workforce is the silent branch of the armed forces. Joey joked about the submarine force being the silent service. That is true, but the American workforce is the silent service. So I hope you're awake. I hope that you're still listening because we're towards the end of the night. And I hope you can hear me because we need you. We need your friends and we need your family. So you young kids out there, I know that there's some young faces that walked across the stage tonight, right? You're just out here trying to make it in life. Maybe you're starting your first job. We need you. We need you so much that as you're figuring out your way in life, you're growing up, maybe you're going to get married, maybe you're lucky enough to have kids. We need your kids because this is going to go on for the next 40 or 50 years. And the people that are going to be welding on these submarines and the engineers that are going to be designing them, they haven't even been born yet. So when you think about it from that aspect and you look at what the submarine industrial base is involved in, we have K through 12 programs that we're already working on teaching young kids how to weld in the elementary school. You know how you teach kids to weld in elementary school? It's with Cheese Whiz and crackers. It's no joke. That's how you teach them. This is a movement in history, not a moment in time. 140,000 workers in the trades over the next 10 years, building Columbia's and Virginia classes. We haven't even talked about the new fast attack submarine that we're about to roll out. We haven't even named it. It's just called SSNX. And then there's this AUKUS program that we've announced a couple years ago. We didn't even talk about that and what those demands are going to put on the submarine industry. When we pull back the curtain and we look at the opportunities that are out there, it is really endless. The opportunities that you will have in the submarine industrial base and the defense industrial base. So when you think about your day and on your drive home, whatever you do to relax with an adult beverage or however it is, think about not today. Think about how you contributed to maintaining the American way of life and national security by making a bad actor somewhere in a foreign country across an ocean from you look in the mirror and say, not today. You did that. Keep doing it and tell all your friends. We need your help. And if you need help remembering any of this, just go to a website called buildsubmarines.com. It'll explain everything and it'll help your friends figure out where they need to go to work. Whether you wear the uniform of the Navy are a prior service veteran of any branch, or a civilian government employee or contractor, you are an influencer in today's society. We need your voice and we need your help. When you step back and you look at what the Talent Pipeline program has accomplished over the last 4 years and how fast and how far we've spread across the country, it's easy to look at the companies involved, look at the numbers and look at the data and see the improvements that are being made in recruiting, onboarding, hiring, and retention. What's really great for me to see personally, just having been part of the program for a year, is to see the culture changes and improvements in some of the organizations that I've had the opportunity to visit. Companies using the tools to become better places to work, providing better environments for their employees, investing in the betterment of their employees, which results in the personal and professional development of better human beings. When we put the focus on making human beings better, everything else just happens. We get better supply chain results. We get better capacity and capability in our shipyards and our submarine building facilities. We get better build rates of our submarines. We just get better. Let's continue to do it together. Congratulations, Pittsburgh, on your signing day. Thank you for the hospitality, and I hope to engage with some great conversation down at the reception. Good luck out there, and remember, not today.
Thanks, CMC. Being an Air Force guy, it pains me to say, submarines are the strongest part of this tribe. We know what happens to land-based and air-based instantly as soon as the trigger's pulled. Our only real deterrent is that guy over there. Man, where's Eli? Did you feel that? Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Momentarily, CMC is going to have them retrieve the colors. We're going to depart the official party, and then I need everyone to stand tight because we've got a little bit more information to pass along to you. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the retrieval of the colors and the departing of the official party.